Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's your boy Dangerous Duke,
And your boy, Stevie Jobber.
and welcome to the Dangerous Jobbers podcast. And for the next 15 minutes, we're running a segment called The Dark Match.
People have been asking me to be the best in the world. Why, Eddie, why? I'm better than you.
My eyes are red. I was in the back smoking a joint with their dad.
You know it.
So, for this dark match, we're spending the next 15 minutes on MLW's Never Say Never pay-per-view and tapings that was live on FITE TV last night at 8 o'clock. So if you want to go and watch this before or after you listen to this dark match, it is on FITE TV, MLW, Never Say Never. But before we get into everything, Duke, I know you had a heavy question for me. So let's start off with that one.
All right. So obviously, not a lot of people know about MLW. I mean, if they're a listener of the pod, they know about it because we talk about it, but not a lot of people might have seen it, might have been to a live show. You happen to have been to a live show for MLW. I have not. So my question is, for those who don't know what MLW is, how can you explain it to them, and how can you describe what the feeling and the atmosphere is like at being at an MLW show? How does it compare to some of the other ones that you've been to? How does it better, worse, what have you?
Man, that is a heavy question. That's a heavy question. I like that, but it tests me. It tests me. So I've been to at least 3 or 4 MLW shows. I've
Mm-hmm.
been front row for most of them, if not front row, second row. So right up in the atmosphere. I think I can describe it in 2 different ways. I can describe
Mm-hmm.
it as seeing it online, and it's good. It's becoming more and more of a TV show. It's like an early TNA when they were just getting their legs in the 2000s. So
So
you'll keep in
like
mind that you're watching
2004.
a work in progress, but
Mm-hmm.
you'll see the raw talent will come through easy for you. And
Okay.
the storylines are very Lucha Underground, if you've seen Lucha Underground. So it's a different kind of writing. That'll feel like a drama, but it won't be too cheesy. It'll be just enough for
Okay.
you to suspend your disbelief. If I was to describe it for you to be there live, front row, second row, in the crowd, in the 2300 arena, scratch all of that other stuff. If you're there live, it is like going to ECW. It is it is core to Philadelphia because MLW itself has been around for years, and there's so many more legends than we realize have come through MLW.
Right.
Some of the first champions, um, Kaval, Seth has been there, Cross has been there, RVD's been there, Sanjay Dutt has been there. So many people, Flair's come through, Jerry Lawler has been there.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has come through MLW, believe it or not. So it's not like some new promotion that's finding their legs. It's a veteran.
Yeah, almost in the sense of there's some lineage that's been through MLW.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Some of the best have been there. So it feels like a core ECW show. There's gonna be a hardcore match. The fans are gonna be rowdy, but they're just so Philly. It is so pure. It comes through so genuine, and you quickly, because of the energy in the building, you quickly become attached to whoever you're seeing out there. And
Okay.
the MLW roster knows it, so they go hard most times. You always come along seeing somebody else new you didn't like. You always see the line being pushed. Um, and you always leave there, if you've never been, loving somebody you didn't love before. And you just feel the community in the building, which I'll get more into later. But if I was to describe being there, it's that great. It's You almost lose yourself in the feeling.
It's like looks can be deceiving between watching it online and then watching it in person.
Absolutely. Because
Okay.
they don't have the time. If
Hmm.
they had like a good 2 hours on TV, you would it'd be able to come through a little clearer. But
Okay.
the work they put in the building is tremendous. Tremendous.
Okay. I can see what you're saying because watching WWE live and being there live, sometimes it doesn't really feel like there's a difference. It feels like you're gonna feel the same way, either
Yes.
way.
Yes.
But for the MLW show and watching it online as opposed to being there in person, there definitely is like a night and day switch between the two.
It just doesn't you wouldn't even you would have to be there. Like I would say if
Okay.
you saw it online, um and you find somebody you like, look up Fatu, look up Alex Kane, who we'll talk about also. Look up the Bulldog. Um, it's just there. You'll find people you really
Hmm.
like. But if you're really on the fence, wait till it comes to you and just
Okay.
go and just feel it. It's a special kind of thing.
Something you got to do.
Um, Man, that was a good question. That was a great question. All right. So because we're only doing this in 15 minutes, I just picked three things, and we saw a lot of matches.
Yep.
Um, a lot of matches because there was tapings, but there was also the pay-per-view from 8 to maybe 10:30 because I noticed I was looking at the clock and they ran a little long. Um,
Hmm.
but it's on Fight TV. I'm sure they don't have like a something to play after this. But so we watched tapings after that and before
Hmm.
that.
Okay.
So I just wanted to point out three matches. The first match I have written down is Fatu versus Tankman. Jacob Fatu, the new MLW openweight champion, former MLW heavyweight champion, goes up against crowd favorite Calvin Tankman, who we were front row to see, and um, Mrs. Jobber had a good little talk with him after one of the matches because she's lively at these shows, and it's awesome.
Hmm.
Um, but Tankman, we love Tankman's. He's a big guy. And it just a lot of heart, hits hard, and just is amazing in the ring. They basically went in there and had um a highlight match because
Hmm.
there really is no bad guy. People love Fatu, people love Tankman, and I almost kind of knew Fatu was going over because he just became champion, but the match itself was just tremendous. And
Yeah. Anytime.
Fatu took the time after the match to call him back in and just give him all the love in the world and just say, you're one of the toughest guys I've ever been in here with. And
Give him
um,
his flowers.
just gave him his flowers. And it was just a tremendous moment. So
Hmm.
just a lot of love there. So I just wanted to touch on that.
Yeah, I think that's very noble of him to do. Like obviously, all these things they're probably scripted or, you know, geared one way to make this actually happen. But for somebody like Fatu, who's seen as like this big Samoan, like scary dude, for him to
Mhm.
do something like that, it shows that, hey, we're on two different sides of the spectrum here, but we're still working together at the end of the day. We still gotta pay respect where respect's due. And I like that they do that.
Yeah, yeah. Um, it comes across very genuine as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just great to see. I mean, Tank to me has always felt like a great singles competitor, but I don't think he's won anything other than the tag team titles with EJ
Never
the Judge.
never say never.
And of course never say never, but it just felt like they took the time to appreciate his work and who
Mm-hmm.
he is in the company and how good he is, even if
Sometimes
they
that's all
couldn't
it
give him the
takes.
belt, sometimes that's all it takes. The second match I had is um I'm sorry, sometimes I don't know my own writing. Oh, so they had this scramble match, which I believe is for the number one contendership. Um, and they had a scramble match between six guys. It was Willie Mack.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go find this card again. It was Willie Mack. It was O'Shea Edwards, who was um who was a member of Bumaye Fight Club,
Yeah. I think their most recent member as well.
which is funny because they also crowned a new member to the squad that night. Shout out to Jay
Mm-hmm.
Bushi. He lost to Mr. Thomas, and then O'Shea gave him beads and said, "Man, you got heart." And then they initiated him into the Bumaye Fight Club, which is pretty cool to see. Um, I just passed it. Here we go. It was Willie Mack. It was O'Shea Edwards, who's, I mean, just tremendous. There was Katano, who never seen before, but he was tremendous. There was Ken Broadway, Cash Flow, Ken Broadway. He was impressive. And then a
Mm-hmm.
new, like I said, every time you go, you find a new guy you love. Love Doug, tremendous. We don't have enough time to talk about him, but just tremendous. Love this guy. Anyway, all five of these men put on a tremendous match, and Willie Mack and O'Shea Edwards just stars, both of them, underappreciated
Mm-hmm.
stars. Willie Mack wins, of course, but the
Mm-hmm.
work O'Shea Edwards put in, my goodness, can we get this guy a tag team title? Um, just tremendous. I wanted to point that out just because Love Doug's tremendous. I'm a new fan. Love this guy. Everything about him. Just tremendous. He wears Cupid wings. Love it. Um, and
It's like a MLW Dalton Castle.
just exactly. Um, I can't. We don't have the time. But when that match hits, I'll probably reshare it on the Instagrams.
Mm-hmm.
But that scramble match is just tremendous. And the last thing I want to talk about, of course, the match that I lost my freaking voice for, that I used up a lot of my time. So I got to rush to tell you how extremely awesome this match was because I have about 2 minutes. Um, Alex Kane challenges for the MLW World Heavyweight Championship against long reigning champion Alex Hammerstone. I was there to see Hammerstone win, and I've hated him ever since. Everything about him is, ugh, it works my freaking nerves. It's like some guy just decided to be Hulk Hogan all over again. And if you think I'm being
Nobody wants that.
harsh, Hammerstone, I'm sure you're a tremendous person. I heard your interview on the Jericho podcast. I don't have time to talk about it. I'm sure you're a great guy, but as a character, you freaking stink. Um,
Ooh, twisted
you
knife.
just no, and if it hurts now, I got more. The whole night, the Boomerang Fight Clubs, out the ass. Let's start with that. Boomaye, baby. And Boomaye was being screamed throughout the night because different members of the Boomaye Fight Club were out there having different matches. Boomaye heavy chants, Boomaye signs, everything, right? So we get to the match. They close out the night. I mean, there was 2 more matches afterwards for tapings, but I think that was booking's choice to make sure they got the hottest crowd at the time. And they didn't wear everybody out by the time the show was ready to close. Anyway, Boomaye chants out the ass all night. We get to the match. Chants start. New chant. Boomaye, Boomaye. It's the building is roaring for Alex Kane to the point where Hammerstone is weird because he was always booked as a face, but every time he steps into Philly, we're taking none of the shit. Anyway, I have to wrap this up. They go out there, and this kid has the underdog John Cena match of a lifetime, and it is everything you want it to be. And the people were rooting for him all freaking night. We've been watching this guy here for the past 3 years build a name, and now go from tremendously hating him to him being like, I don't know, like just this guy we watched become, just one of the greatest workers in the company. And he had the entire building on his back, and we erupted the moment he won. I felt like if it was still 10 or 20 years ago, we'd be jumping the railings. I lost my voice. I was sitting second row towards the camera. So a lot of FaceTime. I'm sure there will be a clip of me yelling into the camera, Boomaye, because I did lose my voice. And it just felt like he's from Atlanta, but it felt like he was home. Because
I was gonna say we've watched him grow.
Yeah.
As a performer. Since in the 3 years we've been doing this, covering MLW, all that good stuff, we've literally watched him grow from just being a guy that's there working to being their open weight champion to being their main champion now. You've literally seen him grow. And it's been a beautiful thing to see because each year he's improved. And it's just lovely.
It's amazing. It's tremendous to see. And he cut a speech after, and it was just so heartfelt. And if there's 2 guys that are like over in Philly more than anybody else, it's Fatu and Alex Kane. And the fact that Alex Kane has been able to do this, and Fatu is still the openweight champ, and I feel like Fatu could easily cash in the openweight title to fight Alex Kane, and then I would lose my mind. But I do feel like that match is on the horizon, and then Fatu will be on to greener pastures. But just a tremendous night for everybody that I love to see, and to see Kane come this far from talking to him in 2 years to just like a year or so later becoming MLW World Heavyweight Champion. It's just absolutely amazing.
And honestly, not just because we've talked to him before, but couldn't happen to a more stand-up guy. Like at the time we were interviewing him, he was a heel and still had his little heelish tendencies. He tried to sprinkle them in, but just a stand-up guy, man. It couldn't have happened to a better person. And it's only bigger things coming from here.
Absolutely. And I love to see one of our guys make it. You know what I mean?
It is a beautiful thing to see. Who knows? Maybe I'll have to throw the IC belt up and challenge him because he said he loved the IC belt.
I wouldn't be.
I don't think it's going well for me, but
it'd be great though. It'd be a great experience.
Oh yeah.
Be in the ring with
if he was to sign the contract, I couldn't say no. Wouldn't work out well for me, but we're still gonna do it anyway.
All right, man. Let's wrap it up. We're over time. Yeah.
All right. Well, guys, as you see, this is why we love MLW. This is why we had to tell you about it. That brings us to the end of this segment, The Dark Match.
up.